It's about the camaraderie. It's about the campfire talk. It's about bringing a person in who's gone 100 miles an hour in a whole career, whether it was overseas, back here in the United States, and definitely in the military. Then all of a sudden, bam, they stop, and you don't know what to do.
I went from running, gunning, doing things fast pace to completely brakes on, driving in reverse. I've just kind of drawn back away from everything because it's like I can't find my aspect, and I need somebody I can turn to and talk to. From day one till now, it's like 9 days. I feel
okay. We're not going to show the whole video, but I just wanted to give you a little, little kind of an overview of what SAL is about, Special Operations Wounded Warriors. There is a link on our page right now. And sorry, the audio didn't come through, so I was yanking it up there so you could hear it. Allie signed for us. No audio. No audio. Or add closed captions. Apparently hearing impaired. You should be able to hear us. Okay. Allie, did you cut the audio again?
You can't hear anything?
I think they should be able to now. Darn it.
Is it just me, but I have zero sound? Dang it.
Oh, we started without sound. So.
That's not me.
As I said, so we started out this episode talking about the fact that things aren't working right.
Are sound working now, though?
Yeah, it should be. I would think so. Well, you heard it on there. So.
I know. I only heard the music.
Oh, so yeah.
So let me go to it.
See, the button doesn't work. Yeah, everything's just stopped working at once. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Well, the sound for the video worked. Oh,
yep, we're here. We're here now. So yeah.
Okay, better now.
Come back. Come back. Oh, okay. Better now. Yeah.
Okay. That was weird. Maybe something had to be hit.
Yeah, who knows.
Anyway, Ron Bellin was a very dear friend of ours, our first sponsor, and a close friend, and he's missed.
Yeah.
Very much. So, anyway, SAO is a pretty awesome organization, like Rob had said, and it really gives back to those military men and women who do have that stop. I mean, just in the fire service, I remember I went from the fire service, and this really can't compare, but I went to the fire service and I went into risk management, and when people would come to me and say, hey, in risk management, they're like, we'd have a problem, this is the issue, and I'd be like, okay, this is what you do. And that was because that was the reaction in the fire service. You go on scene, boom, you do something.
Get her done.
Get her done. It's automatic. You didn't have time to kind of like sit there and think, well, I think, this is probably the angle we need to come with this, and this is the plan we're going to put into place. No, you practiced that all beforehand in all of the trainings, and you kind of improvised during the emergency if you had to. So it was very difficult for me, even after 9 years of doing that, is to understand how to address the risk management issues, because that was an immediate fix, but that wasn't a forever fix. So it took me a while to realize, oh my gosh, I have to actually think about it instead of just act. So I get what they're saying.
You're laughing because you're seeing what I'm going to put up
yes,
next.
Yes, so sad, so sad. All right, here's...
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. It won't let me add things.
Okay.
So I'm going to show this, and we should still be able to talk while it's up. This is something that showed up in my newsfeed. So this girl's created a whole lot of controversy around if you're supporting a U.S. team, should you support the U.S.? And she has some issues. But here's how her and her teammate, and I'm really kind of confused as to what's going on here.
Does she not have a shirt on?
It doesn't look like she has clothes on, period. And
they just showed up in a...
The funniest part of this whole video is the guy to the left picking his nose. That's actually why I put this up here. So we're supposed to be focused on her, and meanwhile, he's going to be famous for the rest of his life when this photo pops up because he's picking his nose. So sorry about that, dude. But yeah, I don't know who he is.
What are they doing?
They were. I don't know. That's an awards ceremony or something, obviously, because everybody's dressed up and they're in.
Well, there's nothing trashy about that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I don't know if that's. I can't tell if it doesn't look like there's clothing.
No,
it really doesn't. So.
Wow.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Look, if you're gonna pay for the United States of America, you need to light the United States of America. And yes, he is digging for gold.
The poor guy.
So he can give it to those two half-assed naked gold diggers.
Poor guy. That poor guy. What are you gonna do?
No, there's some controversy around this because I don't know. I haven't seen anything that shows that she's totally disrespecting the United States personally.
She kneeled previously for the national anthem, and then she wouldn't sing the national anthem, and then she wouldn't sing or put her hand over her heart during the national anthem. Honestly, if the media just quit focusing on these people, nobody would know. I mean, it's who cares? They're giving them more attention. They honestly deserve.
Well, they're only getting the attention because they're anti-United States. But I think that to play and represent the United States in any type of game, you must be the most respectful towards the United States and that flag and what that flag served. You know, and that flag represents the men and women who have died in this country to fight for our freedoms. I mean, it represents unity. It represents all these states coming together. It's a sacred symbol. And I wouldn't go to somebody else's country and ever disrespect their flag, ever. I would never burn a flag. And that's
some countries, if you go and do that, they'd probably kill you.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I think that should be a requirement. You must have maybe pass a test about the United States and how much you support it or something. It's just sad to see because I loved soccer. I played soccer. I started the first girls soccer team at our school. And before that, we played co-ed. And I didn't have a lot of girlfriends who would play because they didn't want to sweat in front of dudes. I didn't care. So we got that together and we played, and it was fun. And we used to watch the women's U.S. team and see how they played and how they backed each other. It was incredible. And they loved the flag. And then we got to this. People who are way too opinionated for the sport. And I just want her to kick the damn ball into the net.
Just kick the ball?
Just kick the ball.
Just kick the ball, play soccer, have fun. Oh, and then, so then it came up that the women's soccer players don't make as much money as the men's soccer players. And they're like, oh, see, it's income inequality. And it's like, well, the women's soccer league doesn't raise as much money as the men's soccer league. So...
Is it a commission-based...
well, I mean, you get paid to raise some... I mean, you're raising commerce, right?
Well,
so,
yeah, I get that. Like even in high school.
Yeah.
Like I remember in high school.
And technically, if you look at it as a percentage, the women make more percentage of the total than the men do. So the men actually get a less of a percentage. So it's not a commission thing. In
soccer, when I was in high school, we had plans to get a brand new soccer field. After the football field got their new field. Right. Because the football field brought in more money than the soccer sports. And this is men and women who both play sports. So I remember we were so excited. Well, that year we were supposed to get a new field. Just so happened that the football field was put in to where it didn't, the water didn't go off correctly. So guess where the soccer field fund got? Into the football field fund. Yeah. So we didn't get a field that next year. And it just got pushed off to the next year. So because they screwed something up. But football brought in more money than we did. Don't know why, but I prefer soccer over football personally. I really enjoyed it. And I do. And I enjoyed watching the soccer games, but it really, with all of the controversy this chick started, and it really made me enjoy it less. It took the fun out of soccer by making it political. You jerk. Like if I saw her on the show and they said, what would you say to Trump? And she made all this stuff up. And you know what I would say to you? You took the fun out of soccer, you jerk. That's all I want to say to her. Period. It's okay. She calls me a jerk sometimes, too. Well, I'm trying to get better with my name calling. She's just not name call, period. So speaking of name calling and basing things on things, race has come up this week, and every single week it seems everything's got to be race. And even she brought up, oh, well, he's doing these things with race, talking about Trump. I don't know why everything's got to pivot around Trump, because honestly, there's a whole lot of other people in the United States. Not everybody hates him. I know not everybody hates him. I think more people like him than hate him. Oh, yeah. So some people hate him, but then when they hate him, it's like over the top. So anyways, Trump lined up some tweets and fired them off at 4 particular congresswomen who are also jerks in the United States Congress, who are women of color. And it's funny because not only is he in trouble, Nancy Pelosi's in trouble because she was got in the middle of the fray and made a comment that actually was racist. Well, I've heard about this. I didn't know the whole story. So I am interested. So I forget.
it's one of those things I don't try to spend too much time paying attention to because it really isn't worth our time to do. But you get pulled into it because of the fact that everybody's like, well, what do you think? Because for some reason, if you put a video up on YouTube immediately, you have to have an opinion. Well, no, my opinion is quit wasting your time on it. but saw a couple things today. Saw a couple things, and they actually voted today, or they were going to vote today, to impeach. But the Republicans voted to table it, and it got tabled. So they actually voted, made a motion to table it. God, Robert Rules of Order, so fun. Anyways, so
do they do anything? Does Congress do anything other than bitch at each other?
Anyways, so Lindsey Graham said, "Hey, aim a little higher," to Trump, and Trump's like, "What? Like senators?" And I'm like, "No." He literally was like, "What? You want me to aim it? So you don't wait till they're senators?" I'm like, "No, that's not what he meant." But whatever. And but his comment wasn't inherently racist, and that's where we heard a term this week called subtle racism. And it's kind of funny because you can apply that term to literally anything, and it works. Okay. So here's the problem. So racism is when I judge a person based upon their color and solely upon their color. In other words, I'm never going to trust you. I'm never wanting to be around you, and I'm not going to treat you a certain way because of your color.
Same color.
That's racism. Subtle racism is anything to do with anything that you don't like, and you happen to be a different color than the other person that's doing it. That's literally what it would apply to. So subtle racism would be all the things that, so a guy comes walking in, he comes in with an attitude, and you're like, oh shit, I'm a little weirded by that. And they're like, oh, see, that's subtly racism. Well, if it was two white guys, it's not subtle racism. But if it's a black guy and a white guy, it's subtle racism.
I was told
just because they're like, well, wait a minute, I don't like the way the guy's acting.
So I was told what it is when you feel like when you don't know somebody and you feel uncomfortable around them, you know, that first like uncomfortable feeling. If they're a different color than you, then that makes you racist. But if the same color, then you're not. So I put this into play. Or they said you wouldn't feel uncomfortable about that person if they're the same color of you as your skin.
That's not true.
That's not true at all. I was actually at the Poor Station getting water, and there was a guy, and he was like kind of too close, and he had all those bottles, and he was getting all this water, and I was like, I don't want to interrupt him, but I got to get water. And it was kind of like I just was uncomfortable. And he was a white dude.
Behavior or content of their character is how they judge them, not the color of their skin. So you can't just randomly or arbitrarily place it, oh, well, you're only uncomfortable because no. And that's where we got into this play of facts.
But they also said real quick, racism is all, subtle racism is all, you don't know that you're being racist. It's unknown to you, but it's how you make that other person feel without you knowing how you made them feel or meaning to make them feel uncomfortable.
That's absurd.
I thought
that's literally absurd. Now, you can be racist and not know you're racist because you can be brought up racist. But that behavior is very easily identifiable because you will never see that individual be around a person of the color they don't like. And you will never see them treat that person of color that they don't like. And they could be blacks towards white, by the way, in a certain way. So I've seen blacks that are patently racist against whites. Straight up racist against whites. And I've seen whites, I've lived in the Deep South, that are patently racist against blacks. Okay? And they can be as pleasant and as sweet as you possibly could think, but they're still racist. Okay? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this whole trying to say it's subtle. That's called a defense mechanism. That's built into us. It's hardwired as human beings. It's how we stay alive. Because if we don't do that, we can end up hurt, injured, or dead. And that's the thing that we cannot just erase. You're not going to erase that from the human nature, and nor should you, because you should have certain levels of caution about yourself when a certain behavior presents itself, regardless of the color of the person that's doing it.
So after 9/11, I was at Orange County or Orange Coast Community College. I think that's how you say it. And right after it happened, there was a gentleman, and it was at night, and I was walking next to this guy, and he had a turban on. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, crap, are they going to come bomb here too? Which is a horrible thing to think. It's right after there. But then I thought, well, no, that's not fair to him to think that way, even though I'm on high alert. And so this is all going through my head, and I'm like, no, you know what? He looks like a nice kid. I'm not gonna judge him on what just happened, you know, a week ago in the United States until he does something that makes me want to judge him on that.
That's misplaced fear. That's fear, not actual danger. That's fear versus racism. Fear is not inherently racist, but it can be categorized by race. Being fearful of something because of something that just happened is human nature, okay? We've got to work through fears. Being afraid of snakes. Should we all of a sudden say, well, snakes have never really done anything, and a very small population of snakes have ever really hurt you, so we should all drop that fear of snakes because it's racist towards snakes? Because they're a race, they're an actual breed, so are we racist towards snakes because we're afraid of them?
Well, I don't like some snakes.
You don't like spiders. You're racist
I'm
towards
racist
spiders.
towards all spiders. I do not pick and choose my spiders, all of them.
So you get my point, is that's not inherently the issue. So this brought up something else, which they started to go down the path of, well, you know, whites have always been over blacks. I'm like, well, wait a minute, hold on a minute. No, that's not true. Whites have not always been over or the dominant race. So they've had a dominance in certain areas, and they've had dominance in economy, but they've not had dominance over. In fact, slavery didn't start with whites enslaving blacks. It started with blacks enslaving blacks. So you can't start to equate slavery based upon whites and blacks. And you get into the Deep South, it gets very convoluted, especially if you get into like New Orleans and you start looking at who owned, ownership in New Orleans was 60% blacks owned slaves, 40% owned slaves that were white. So completely mismatched.
Well, and then you get into the fact that only 1% of the population owned slaves back then.
Kylie, you nailed it. Yeah, I think people are using the word racism as a defense mechanism when they don't have an otherwise good argument. Yeah, everything's racist. It's got to be based upon race because I'm uncomfortable with you feeling this way about that person, and you shouldn't be doing that. When in reality, you have to have an uncomfortable situation in a lot of situations to be safe.
Well, it's also the social justice warriors that are like, I'm going to defend that person, even though it might not be offensive to that person whatsoever. You know, they're like, I'm concerned about how you might make somebody else feel. You're never going to know how you made that person feel. They're never going to know, but it ends up becoming a concern. The other thing that was brought up that frustrates me, and this has to be a button to push, is when a white person says white privilege. When any person says white privilege.
So I can show you places, I can take you to places where white privilege still exists, but universally in the United States, it does not. Okay, there's some little pockets of it there where it exists.
It's not white privilege. It is, there's
privilege extended to only white individuals by white individuals, absolutely.
There's also affirmative action that extends privileges only to women in some situations, or only to African Americans or Mexican Americans, all those.
I didn't say that didn't exist. There's always pockets of things that exist, but universally, if you look at it, whites don't have privilege over blacks in the United States.
What is white privilege, though? Everybody's like, oh, well, that white privilege. I'm like, I want some of that white privilege. I'm like, I've worked my ass off. I'm going to school right now full time. I don't have the white privilege paying for my school. I don't have the white privilege paying for a new vehicle. We're saving up money to buy a new vehicle. Where's that white privilege? I want it. All I see it in is, if you want to talk white privilege, I see it in Congress. I see it in Hollywood. I see it in people with tons of freaking money, like that Epstein guy, where he can sexually assault and abuse children of all ages, even though they call them, what do they call them? They say they're women.
Underage females.
No, they call them underage women, I think.
Underage women.
Yeah.
They're called children.
Yeah, yes, not underage women. Yeah, but it's because it's how, like, that's spun, is the extremely wealthy, and I'm not talking about the 1%er that our friend that brushes his hair with a balloon, Bernie Sanders, is talking about. I'm talking about the people who are controlling the country. And that's not, the majority of them aren't white. There's a lot of the Muslim countries and the Turkish and everything with the money, with the oil, who are controlling and playing chess with the American people.
There's a lot of whites in that group.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you know, look at the Federal Reserve. That created that group. That allowed that to happen. That's white, and that's privileged, period, because they're privileged to do whatever the hell they want. Look at Hollywood. Look at the mess that's there, where you can have people, white, black, red, whatever, have a crime committed, and they're cut off, scot-free. Oh, that's you.
Yeah, why?
So it's because they have money. And I understand we want to hate Donald Trump because he has money, but the thing is Donald Trump's doing more good with his money than the other ones are doing by controlling the fact that their money's getting taken away. I'm really curious to see what this Epstein thing brings up now, because finally we have something.
Well, they really tried at the beginning of it really hard to tie it to Trump. I saw that. It was like they tried really hard to tie, and then that didn't work. So now it's sort of like the story just disappeared.
Yeah.
And now they focused on him, saying to these 4 women who say vile and disgusting things about the United States. I mean, go, please tell me what they're saying about the United States that's good and what they're saying they can do to make it better. Because none of them are offering anything that's better. They just want to punish, tax, and take.
As a woman, I would like to tell these women, you guys are jerks and you don't represent the company.
Back to jerks.
They're jerks. Jerks is my new word because I'm trying to get away from assholes. So, you women are jerks.
Yes.
You do not represent the populace of the women. How bad? Isn't it embarrassing as a woman to see how these women are acting and how they're treating things and how they represent other women? You don't represent any American women. You represent nothing. And you have nothing in common with what we're trying to do. Drives me crazy. I remember when people were like, oh, well, aren't you going to vote just the way your husband votes? No, I can.
Somebody made the comment that the only reason Trump won is because white women were afraid to vote different than their husband. Now, is that sexist or what?
No, and I vote differently than Rob on some things, and we have some good.
What?
Shit.
What?
Oh no! Oh, I'm gonna get beat later for that one. Oh dear, me. But there was one thing, getting off this, and we're going to go on a tangent on this, but there was something that you brought up that I didn't know about Stargate that you were a little upset about. I don't know.
So, another thing this week is they decided they were going to storm Area 51. Brilliant, folks. So all the high-end tech, the super secret, that's alien tech, supposedly is Area 51, we're going to storm it and demand to see it. Like, wouldn't it be like the last place you'd want to storm because they would just zap you off the earth? I mean, if they had like mind control rays or lasers or yeah, smart guys. So this must be like the flat earthers. They've figured. Oh, by the way, flat earthers figured out how to deal with global warming. We just needed to flip it over.
Oh, thank you, flat earthers. You're
so anyways,
just as
so anyways, during this, somebody did a meme that said, "No, let's storm Cheyenne Mountain instead and get the Stargate." And she said,
"What's that?"
Anybody help me here? I'm like, wow.
How many people know what Stargate is or Cheyenne Mountain?
So Cheyenne Mountain, 1. Stargate, 2.
I have a friend named Cheyenne. I have a couple.
Weigh in on this because I want to know that she knows at least Star Wars and Star Trek. I got her there. She got there. She didn't know Babylon 5, which I knew understanding.
I didn't like it. So it's just another one of the Star Wars things.
It's not a Star Wars thing. It's completely different.
Okay, so it's another one of the Captain Kirk things.
It's not. It's not Star Wars. It's Star Trek. It's not Star Trek. No, not at all.
Well, it's like Babylon 5.
It's not like Babylon 5.
Then why'd you bring
it's
those three
not in
up?
space. Well, there's at least science fiction based.
Is it real?
Possibly. We don't know.
It's not real.
It could be.
So it doesn't matter if I know it or not.
It was real in my imagination.
Whatever.
Don't rain on my parade.
Whatever. Anyway,
so tell me that Santa Claus doesn't exist or something.
So I guess you brought up that whole thing on this show. What you were going to talk about is how our facts are different, or our what'd you call it? Or our opinions are different.
We're out on our wrong show. We're in the Community Edition show, I think.
What?
Are we in the wrong show?
No, I went to Patriot Edition.
You went to Patriot Edition? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm freaking out because everything else is breaking today, so
He wasn't ready when I got here. But anyway, you talked about opinions matter.
Oh,
facts matter?
opinions versus facts. Well, that's when I said no. It's on regular Birdman Media. So, anyways,
crap.
So we'll share it over there. Yeah. So that seems to be. Kylie said that using racism as a defense mechanism is one thing to do, but the other thing to do is they start making up facts. They start giving alternative facts or doing because all the this that it runs the gambit. So once you can't agree, if you can't like have actual factual data or actually agree upon the facts, it's pointless to have any discussion past that.
Yeah, but the internet has all the facts. I personally, I know this is conspiracy theory.
Wow.
But I think that the internet is being controlled.
You think the internet's being controlled?
Yeah.
Who's controlling it?
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg, huh?
And Hillary Clinton.
And Hillary Clinton.
and other crazy lefties, which I learned today, that I've been learning recently the difference between liberal and conservative.
Really?
Yes.
What's the difference?
Not much.
That's true.
But the difference between left and right is significant. And so I actually we had a great conversation with a liberal person that we love very much, and being the conservative person that they love very much, we talked about certain things. And one of the things we talked about was how I feel about Planned Parenthood. I don't think Planned Parenthood is the best organization, and I don't like what they do. However, you can't take that away without increasing education and other services to people. You can't just cold turkey cut that. You have to be able to focus on prevention efforts. And if you're not focused on prevention, then you can't take it away. And that was an agreement. We agreed, me and this liberal person that we love very much, agreed on a lot of things differently. We agreed that sex education is very important at school. We agreed that it's what Rob says. We think that gays should be able to protect their marijuana plants with guns. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's individuals' rights. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do. And I think that most liberals would agree with that, except for probably the gun part, but they might. They understand that a lot of them understand that the guns is our Second Amendment right. And July 4th, if you were a lefty and you were celebrating that, you were celebrating the fact that we protected ourselves with our guns, which I thought was great. That was the best meme ever. I loved it. Oh, did I love it. But anyways.
Okay, cool. You want to?
Me?
Sure. Go for your
Awesome.
stuff.
Okay.
And we'll have to show this over to the Patriot Edition. So you're getting a special edition here on Birdman Media.
Sorry
regular.
about that. Okay, so 1453, France defeats England at Castellone, France, ending the 100 Years' War. England got their butt kicked a lot. Peter III, in 1762, Russia is murdered, and his wife, Catherine II, takes the throne, Catherine II, which I think is suspicious. 1785, France limits the importation of goods from Britain. So, and that's one of the things that Trump's been doing. He's been playing this
Oh yeah,
war.
the game with tariffs. Yeah.
Yeah, the tariff war, or even holding. He got, I guess, a bunch of other countries to withhold stuff from. Was it Iran? Or
Iran, yeah.
I mean, he's really working his butt off and doing things. Yeah, wouldn't it be great if we could all hug each other and sing Kumbaya? But just like we talked to our friends, peace is not gonna. There's no such thing as peace on earth. It's sad. And it would be wonderful if there is. And I don't care how much long you want to beat your head against a drum to try to get that, but it's not going to happen. It's a sad thing. Just wake up. 1791, National Guard troops opened fire on a crowd of demonstrators in Paris. 1791. I wonder what that was for.
I don't know. Oil, probably. Kidding.
But that's 1791.
Yeah, I know. Kidding.
1799, Ottoman force supported by the British captures Abukir, Egypt from the French. Okay, let me go.
Circle K.
That's an ad.
Oh, an ad.
1815, Napoleon Bonaparte surrenders to the British at Roquefort, France. Andrew Jackson becomes the governor of Florida, 1821. Which, another thing was crazy about learning about colleges is there's certain colleges that are just the path to Congress.
Yeah, there is that.
And world domination.
Bum, bum, bum.
1898, U.S. troops under General William R. Schaffner take Saratoga de Cuba during the Spanish-American War. 1944, Field Marshal Erwin Rommel is wounded when an Allied fighter strafes his staff car in France.
In French?
France. What's the strafes?
Strafes.
What's a strafe?
Strafe.
How do you strafe something?
You strafe across.
With like bullets?
Yeah.
1946, Chinese communists attack the nationalist army of the Yangtze River. The river had its own army. 1960, American pilot France Gary Powers pleads guilty to spy charges in Moscow court.
Dude.
1966, Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh.
And we're done.
I probably said that wrong. I don't think it's
Ho Chi
Hoochie.
Minh?
Ho Chi Minh?
Yeah, Ho Chi Minh.
Okay. Orders a particular mobilization of North Vietnam to defeat against American airstrikes. Okay. 1987, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North and Rear
Admiral
John Poindexter begin testifying to Congress regarding the Iran-Contra scandal. How many scandals are in the government?
Tons.
Why do we want?
Non-stop scandalage.
Why do people want to give the government
Can
more
we get
power?
a reset? Can we just go, boop, everybody out? We're
It's
voting
like,
all new people in.
And this scandal, and this scandal, and this scandal, and this scandal. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, oh, well, the government just needs to regulate more. No, they need to go away. I mean, it's just this scandal is just,
Born on July 17th.
would be Isaac Watts, English minister at Heim Writer. And hymn
writer.
Oh.
Hymn writer. He's a hymn writer. I'm sorry. I'm going to go write some hymns. Maybe we can hymn them.
Shut up. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not reading it
Wow.
well right now. 1763, John Jacob Astor,
If you think
American
this is
fur
easy, by the
trade
way,
and
try-
entrepreneur. It's these names. Once you start saying these names like Hoochie,
Ho Chi Minh.
you get I'm telling you, you get tongue-tied. So 1888, S.Y. Agnon, Israel writer, the day before yesterday. George Letmaitre, a Belgium astronomer. Let's see, James Cagney, American actor.
Cagney?
Yeah, I don't know him.
Cagney? Mm-mm. Okay, James Cagney.
He was in Yankee Doodle Dandy. Oh,
Yeah.
Yankee Doodle was a long time ago.
Yankee
1899.
Doodle
And Mr. Roberts. Is that like Mrs. Robertson?
No.
Oh. 1902, a novelist, Christina Stead. There's really, maybe if we should get some people that we know. Nope, that's it.
So anyways, no spoiler, but go see Spider-Man Far From Home.
That was the best dang Spider-Man movie yet.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Cool stuff.
It was so good.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it was so good. So
Thumbs up on that.
anyway, yeah, super hungry. Could go.
So all the locals, where are we going to go? You going to Lion's Den?
We're just at the Lion's Den.
We're just and we're going to be there on Saturday.
And we're gonna be
you
there
local
Saturday.
folks. So if you like this, by the way, and since we put this up on the local, go like Birdman Media Patriot Edition, and this show's on
Yeah, sorry
every
about that.
Wednesday at 4:30. Yeah.
So,
this is me not being me.
The Lodge.
The Lodge.
We can go to Lodge.
We go to the Lodge.
No offense.
It's just been
Then we can go to the Lodge because they got a charcuterie board, which I got made fun of saying.
Charcuterie?
How do you say it?
I don't know. Shatori?
Charcuterie.
Shatori. It's the cheese and meats. Yeah.
Best board ever. It's incredible. But yeah, we don't get to go to Lodge a lot. And we spent this weekend with kids, taking them with family.
Yeah, family fun park.
We got to go hang out at the Lion's Den, which was awesome with the kids. We took them to the Family Fun Park, which worked out great. We went to the house.
The house?
The house for a while, which was awesome. We wanted to make it to the truck stop because we knew they got that new sand pit. That they would just have a blast.
But it rained.
It did. So anyway, that's it. So next time, there'll be more.
Hey, this is Ad Mortem Odium, which means death to hatred. Let's all get in the middle and sort of like hug and sing Kumbaya. Haha. Kidding. You know, just relax, have some fun, go out and say hi to somebody and be a neighbor.
Yes.
So
See you next time.
bye, Allie.